All right, it's 1:11 PM, Wednesday, April 22nd. We're back on the record. I highly recommend the parties use the next 2 hours very efficiently and effectively because I'm not sure when we'd be able to continue this hearing. We last left off with Ms. Bennett conducting cross-examination of Mr. Higginson. If you will resume the witness chair, turn on the microphone, sir. I remind you, you're under oath. Ms. Bennett?
Good afternoon, Mr. Higginson.
Hello.
When we left off, we were talking about the slides that you had prepared showing degradation, alleged degradation from Avant's extra first bone spring well. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And this is your slide C11. Do you know how far, are you familiar with the Paskey 111 well?
Yes,
Is that a first bone spring well?
that is.
And are you familiar with Permian's proposed spicy chicken 114 well?
I don't recall the numbers of every well, but I'm familiar with our general gun barrel.
And so if I said to you that the 114 was the first bone spring well closest to Paxi, you wouldn't have any reason to doubt me. Okay.
No, ma'am.
And do you know how far the one spicy chicken 114 well is from the Paxi 111 well?
No, I believe you asked me that this morning and I cannot remember.
If I showed you the gun barrel, would that help you?
Yes.
Okay. I realize this isn't a slide that you prepared, but does it help you?
Will you please, for the record, tell him what you're showing him?
Yes, I'm showing him the gun barrel, which is exhibit B15. And it's
Permian's B15.
It's Permian's B15. And it was prepared by Permian's geologist. And what I'm asking is about the distance between the Paxi 111 well, which is, I'm circling right here. Do you see that?
I do.
And the spicy chicken 114, which I'm trying to circle somewhat ineffectively. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, based on this gun barrel, how far apart would you say this Paxi 111 is to your proposed spicy chicken 114?
13-20 feet.
And do you know, oh, well, actually, let me go back to your exhibit. Okay, I'm back on your exhibit C11. And your testimony at the bottom is that you would anticipate a 45% EUR hit at a 1,600-foot distance. Is that correct?
Yes, potentially.
And your proposed spicy chicken 114 is only at 1320 off the Paxi 111. Is that right?
Yeah, I believe it's a little bit further away than y'all's easternmost first bone.
And I'm happy to pull up Avant's gun barrel, but I looked at it last night. I'm happy to pull it up for you, but it's at 1320 as well. So would you anticipate that you would experience the 45% EUR degradation between your Paxi 111 and the spicy chicken 114?
Potentially at PR's cost structure.
What does that mean at PR? I do recall you saying that earlier today now, and I had the same question. What do you mean by PR's cost structure?
Because the basis of any reservoir engineering evaluation is primarily tied to economics. And so any volume has an economic result. And that's extremely important context, in my opinion.
Okay. And so even with that caveat, though, you would acknowledge that your spicy chicken wells are potentially susceptible to the same degradation factor that you're pointing out with the Avant well, first bone spring well?
From a infill degradation standpoint, yes, but less of a degradation standpoint from a density degradation standpoint. So
Okay.
less of a degradation number from a density standpoint, given we're at 4 wells per section.
I wanted to walk through your rebuttal exhibits now. Okay, I'm on your exhibit, your rebuttal exhibit C1. Or I'm sorry, it's C12. Do you see that?
Yes, ma'am.
On the side here, you've said that, or I'm not, what I think you're getting at here is that Avant is stranding Second Bone Spring shale acreage worth 7 million. Is that what you're getting at?
Yes,
And that's because Avant isn't drilling Second Bone Spring shale in section 23. Is that what you're getting at there?
correct.
And were you here yesterday when Mr. Kelly and Mr. Harper testified that Avant could go back in and drill the Second Bone Spring shale?
Yes, which actually coincides with your prior comment on appetite of the Second Bone Shale.
Mhm. So if there was significant appetite, you agree that Avant, there's nothing that would keep Avant from drilling the Second Bone Spring shale?
They might want to evaluate it economically. That might change their appetite, given it might be degraded from the first bones if they come back later.
Okay, I understand what you're saying, but from a purely reservoir engineering perspective.
That is reservoir engineering
Okay.
perspective.
But if Avant did come back in and decided to, and by coming back in, I mean, they would be developing, I think, at the same time, not parent and child or whatever the correct terminology is. Would that eliminate the stranding concern that you've raised on the slide?
I'm not sure the land aspects that would potentially prohibit that. I believe Mark had some comments on that potentially during his testimony on ability to develop the Second Bone Shale into the Coterra acreage.
And he did have some comments on that, and I apologize, that's not what I'm asking about. I was just saying if Avant were to co-develop the first Bone Spring and Second Bone Spring shale, would that ameliorate your concerns here about stranding the Second Bone Spring shale?
Once again, it ties back to economics because their first bone is at higher density. And so the total drainage of the two in combination would be different than the spicy chicken for PR.
And I understand that it might be more nuanced than the simple question I'm asking, but it would no longer be stranded. Is that right?
If there were wells in the acreage, it would not be stranded.
Okay. And as you show on this slide, or this is actually an Avant slide that you've superimposed some additional information on. And on this slide, it shows that Permian isn't drilling, it doesn't currently have any Avalon wells proposed. Is that, or in any application? Do you see that?
I believe we've discussed this.
We have.
I do see that.
Okay. We haven't had a chance to discuss this particular exhibit, so I'm just trying to get the context for this exhibit.
Fair enough.
And the same thing with the Wolf Camp lower.
Objection. This is duplicative and unnecessary. He's been cross-examined numerous times on the fact that Permian Resources isn't drilling Avalon wells. They're not drilling the lower Wolfcamp and their initial development. They're going to do it as an infill at a later date. I don't think we need this cumulative testimony.
Ms. Bennett, is there something additional you're trying to get to? Because if
Yes.
there is, again, time is of the essence, and I prefer not to go back over the same ground that we've already gone over. What is the additional information?
The additional information is that Mr. Higginson did not include the same calculation for the Second Bone Spring shale as he did for the Avalon and the Wolf Camp.
Okay.
And without sort of laying the foundation for that, I felt like I needed to address the slide, but I'm happy to just move forward with my question.
Perfect, great, thank you.
Mr. Higginson, you did not prepare the same calculation for the Avalon, did you?
Same in what way?
You did not prepare a acreage worth in PB10 for the Avalon with Permian Resources not developing the Avalon?
On this slide, I'm specifically tying to Second Bone Shale. I'm not talking about any other benches.
Thank you. I think that answers my question on that one. On C14, I'm sure I'm going to get an objection to this one too, but on C14, you've included the net present value for the, is this for the second bone shale?
Is this C14?
Mhm.
Is this not the second page of C13?
This is C14, your rebuttal C14.
Okay, sorry, I didn't see the bottom. Can you repeat the question?
Is this net present value a calculation of the loss you're attributing to the second bone shale?
There's no net present value number on this slide. That's just the general equation to highlight the theory.
Thank you. Is this related to the second Bone Spring shale?
This is related to any bench that's drilled at any time.
And so this would be equally applicable to the delay in drilling the Avalon that Permian is proposing?
As described earlier, negative cash flows would potentially improve with more of a delay. So I think we've touched on that, if I remember correctly.
We did, and we touched on it generally, but not with respect to this particular slide.
Okay, so what is the specific question then?
This NPV calculation that you've identified on this slide is equally applicable to Permian's delayed production of the Avalon, right?
It is equally applicable to every well
And every bench.
ever developed.
Yep. Um, on this slide, this is slide C15. Are you seeing the slide?
I am.
What Avant slide were you rebutting with this slide?
I do not recall. Oh, actually, I do recall. It was the efficiency slide claiming, if I remember correctly, claiming a bunch of efficiencies from recent operations.
Were they
I don't
1
remember the
mile
number.
1 mile operations?
Correct.
And but you didn't identify anywhere on this slide which Avant slide you're rebutting, right?
I mentioned the word efficiency that's on that slide multiple times.
Let's see. Is there any backup data that you provided to support this chart?
The chart on the left?
Yeah.
That is all publicly accessible data through Inveris, but there's no table showing the data values. But that can be shared if needed.
And how about the DNC total per foot in millions of dollars? Where did you calculate that from?
AFEs tied to the, I believe, C7 econ tables.
What is the C7 econ table?
C7 is one of the exhibits.
Okay, and so this will need to be updated to reflect the C7 and Avant rebuttal C5.
Yes, and the numbers in the differential rows will still be vastly in PR's favor.
On this one, I was surprised by this slide. This is your slide C16. On this one, you identify here CapEx for Avalon wells. Did you provide any AFEs for Avalon wells in this hearing?
That is extrapolated based on the relative difference in cost across the remaining AFEs.
So you haven't prepared any AFEs for the Avalon wells? That is the basis for this number?
That would not be appropriate at this time, given we are not drilling any Avalon wells in our first occupation.
And that would be the same answer for the Wolfcamp Deep, that's an extrapolation.
Correct. There's also very little data in the area to create a type curve off of.
And would this slide also need to be updated to reflect the Avant rebuttal exhibit C5?
Correct. But once again, CapEx for PR would be much lower.
And turning to your rebuttal exhibit C17. This rebuttal exhibit is designed to show, in my opinion, and correct me if I'm wrong, that H2S solutions are expensive. Is that a fair summary of this slide?
It's meant to highlight the risk associated with developing H2 wells with high H2S, specifically the Avalon in this area.
And so I know that you say on this exact slide that their economics tied to the CapEx quickly diminish with elevated H2S. Do you see that?
That's correct.
Due to high associated treatment expenses.
Yes, that's correct.
And so if Avant doesn't have treatment expenses, would your assumptions in this slide be wrong?
If that were the case, yes, but currently Avant has no sour takeaway, as you guys have noted multiple times.
I don't think that's a fair statement of Avant's testimony, but be that as it may. At what point have you determined at what point Avalon wells become economic for Permian?
No, because we don't have a type curve for the Avalon. Like I stated before, there's very limited data. And my type curve slide for the Avalon is in one of these exhibits, if we need to discuss that as well. But it is tied to the Sandra gene, as highlighted in one of Avant's prior slides, as being a repeatable target, as well as spacing methodology previously used by Avant as well for other benches.
And so you can't, sitting here right now, you can't say at what point the Avalon would be too expensive to drill.
Can you rephrase the question?
This chart, I understand you're saying that H2S makes the Avant Avalon wells uneconomic. That's what this chart says.
There's a little bit more nuance to that based on the details in the slide. For example, using Avant's CapEx and also type curves, which may or may not be accurate based on the methodology that I pulled from Avant's earlier slides.
So your own type curves may not be accurate. Is that what you just said?
Yes, I suspect they might be, the volumes might be significantly lower than this.
And the economics that you used to create this slide were based on the prior AFEs?
That is correct.
And this is your rebuttal exhibit C18. And on the slide, you're showing P110 RY. And I'm sorry not to understand this slide, but my takeaway is that you don't believe that P110 RY is sufficient casing for this level of H2S.
I believe that it is potentially risky to use essentially what is commonly used in other benches in a highly corrosive well.
And have you looked to see what the operators around Spicy Chicken who are drilling Avalon wells in this H2S atmosphere are using for their casing?
I'm not sure if any of those wells are online.
So you don't know that Matador is using P110 4 miles away?
That doesn't mean it's the right decision.
I understand that, but I'm just asking if you know the answer to the question.
I do not know the casing for every well in the region.
So you didn't look into that before you prepared your testimony?
I've not looked at every piece of data for every well in the region.
I'm definitely
So not
asking-
specifically that either.
This is going to waste time. If she asks a question and he doesn't answer it, we're going to be going back and forth. So we would please instruct your witness to answer the question that's asked, even if he feels that it's a redundant question or an irrelevant question. Unless you make an objection, he should answer the question just directly.
And I mean, is he still allowed to ask for her to rephrase the
If
question?
he doesn't understand the question, he can say, I don't understand the question.
Okay. And I think some of them aren't yes or no answers, so,
Oh, I agree.
but
I completely agree. But
try
you need
your,
answers.
try your best to answer as Ms. Bennett asked.
Apologies, this is my first time doing this, so
Yes.
I want to, Yeah.
It will help you to know that the more that the fact finders, you don't need to know who the fact finders are, but your credibility is very important during this process. If you come across as argumentative or seeming to duck the questions or avoid the questions, it's going to damage your credibility. So I had a feeling this was your first one, but try to hear what the question is and answer it honestly, fully. But if you don't understand the question, just say you don't understand.
yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What was the question then?
My question was whether he was aware that Matador is using P110 4 miles away.
No,
Are you aware that EOG is using P110 1 mile to the northeast?
Are those wells drilled?
Permitted with P110.
So that could be any bench.
Are you aware? So you're not aware that they're using P110 for the Avalon 1 mile away?
No, I was not aware of the P110 for a permit.
Are you aware that Civitas is using P110 for the Avalon just north of Spicy Chicken?
The duct well, that's 1 mile away or directly north.
Directly north, yes.
I was not aware of that.
Were you here, were you here yesterday when Mr. Kelly explained that he thought that your 17% number here might have been based on a misunderstanding of his slide?
I was here yesterday and I heard that comment.
And do you agree that it's based on a misunderstanding, or do you feel like it's an accurate representation of his test?
I believe he described sorry to overlap. I believe he described that 17% spacing degradation hit for a change in 5 to 6 wells per section. In this case, Avant would be going from 1 to 5 wells per section. So realistically, that degradation number should be much higher.
This is a slide that you prepared about the Anakin well that was P&A'd after a short period of 3 years. And when you were discussing this well, sorry, this is terrible. When you were discussing the causes for this well, I believe you said that you thought it was fairly nuanced, or that there could be a number of circumstances that related to the need to plug and abandon this well.
Yes, based on the timing from initial pop to plugging.
So you can't say with certainty that it was because of the 110 casing?
No, there may have been multiple factors though.
Did you know whether, and this is, I'm honestly just asking you whether you know this, do you know if XTO had sour gas gathering in place for the Anakin well?
I'm not privy to their information in that regard.
Is that information that's publicly available, or is that information that you would have to be part of XTO to know?
I'm not sure.
Okay. I think I might be done, but I'd like to just double check. Thank you very much, Mr. Higginson.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. McClure?
Thank you, Mr. Hearing Examiner. Mr. Higgerson, let's see. If I can draw your attention to your exhibit C-2. I have it as page 44 of 123.
Mr. McClure, would you like us to share that? Is this the exhibit C2?
Yes, that's correct. Yes, and if you could share that would probably be
Thank-
easiest. Yes, ma'am.
Perfect, will do.
I can see it, Mr. McClure.
On your, well, let me ask this question real fast. I thought that I had asked Mr. Haddock, but maybe not. Is it accurate to say that Permium is requesting to force pull or requesting the division to force pull the Avalon along with the First Bone Spring?
I don't know that information personally.
Would Mr. Haddock know that information?
Most likely.
And I don't recall if I asked him this. Mr. Hearing Examiner, would it be fine to go ahead and recall him real fast before I continue questioning
Is there an
this
objection?
expert witness?
No, if it's helpful to the division, we're happy.
Is there an objection?
Not at all. Thank you.
Mr. Hillis, will you let Mr. Haddock retake the stand? Mr. Haddock, I remind you, you're under oath. Yes. Go right ahead, Mr. McClure.
Mr. Haddock, is it accurate that Permium is requesting the division to force pull the Avalon and First Bone Spring?
Yes, sir. We're pulling the full extent of the bone spring from the top of the bone spring to the base of the bone spring. It's in several different cases due to the depth ownership, but yes, we're pulling the full extent.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Haddock. I don't have any further questions for Mr. Haddock at the moment.
Mr. Haddock,
Hearing Examiner.
before you go, hold on. He's your witness. Ms. McLean, was there any follow-up to that?
No follow-up.
Thank you, Mr. Haddock. Okay, Mr. McClure, we have Mr. Hillison back.
Thank you, Mr. Hearing Examiner. Mr. Higginson, do you see your depiction on the right-hand side there of this Exhibit C2?
Yes, sir, I do.
Would you agree that that red box that you have highlighted there, would you agree that it'd be more appropriate to have that include the Avalon as well?
That was only meant to highlight the wells within our application.
I see, and looking down, I guess at the footnote down there, I see where you say application wells. Is that what you're referring to then?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so then the reason you drew your red box as you did, is it accurate to say that reason is because you're showing 4 Avalon wells, which are not included in the cases?
Yes, sir. I wanted to make sure that was a distinct difference in targeting per well set.
Okay, with that in mind, then I am in agreement, I guess, with the way you have this depicted here in regards to that red box. But on this same table, are you in agreement that your labeling of formations needs to be corrected?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if I were to ask for that to be corrected, then you understand what I'm asking for, specifically in regards to the wolf camp, I guess.
Yes, sir. We can do that.
Okay. Mr. Higgerson, I'm on your cost breakout, page 55 of 123. This is your exhibit C-7.
Yes, sir. I see it.
Okay. You were understanding our earlier conversation about removing Avance wells from this exhibit, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, in addition to that, there's a footnote at the kind of at the bottom of the page there that references operators distributed proposal AFEs. Do you see what I'm referring to?
Yes, sir. I do.
I don't recall if this was brought up in earlier discussion, but would you be in agreement that it would be most appropriate, I guess, for that footnote to also be removed?
Yes, sir. I can either do that or just change the wording, whatever your preference is.
I mean, I guess I don't have a preference other than to make the statement accurate, what would you propose to change it to if you're not going, if you're more amenable to doing an edit rather than removal?
I think given the timing of AFE redistribution, I can just remove it at this time.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Higgerson. Mr. Hearing Examiner, I don't believe I have any further questions for this
Mr.
expert
McLean?
witness.
Thank you, Mr. McClure. Ms. McLean, any redirect?
Look at my. Yes, I just have one question. Looking at Yvonne's rebuttal exhibit C5. It's your understanding that this has Yvonne's most recent AFE calculations, correct?
I believe so.
And looking at this, Permian Resources still has lower costs than Avant. Is that correct?
That is correct.
No more questions.
Thank you. Any cross on that one question? No. Thank you. Okay, may this witness be excused.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Let's get the name right once. Higginson. Thank you.
Lots of variation.
Would you like to call your last one?
Yes, Permian Resources calls Davro Clements, please.
And I believe there is one rebuttal exhibit that this witness has submitted that is objected to at this point. So I'm just letting you know that I'm keeping track.
Yes, exhibit D10.
That's right.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hello,
Can you please state your name for the record?
Davro Clements.
And
Davro Clements.
do you want to spell that? Just
Sure. It's a DAVROCLEMENTS.
Great. And by whom are you employed and in what capacity?
Permian Resources as a facilities engineer.
And have you provided direct testimony and exhibits in this case?
I have.
And have those documents been marked as exhibit D and sub-exhibit D1 through D9?
Yes.
And do you, is what you've submitted true and correct?
Yes,
And do you adopt that testimony exhibits today?
I do.
Does Permian Resources have midstream services in place?
Yes, we do.
And can you tell me what those are?
Yes, we have oil, gas, and water gathering dedicated to midstream companies. For oil, it's Salt Creek. For gas, it's Trace. And for water, it's Select. And those individual midstream companies are connected to the Paxi East development.
And so as a consequence of the Paxi development to the east, are those services in place and can they be up and running for Spicy Chicken?
Yes.
How does operating wells in this vicinity, with that offset Paxi spacing unit, help the efficiency of producing the underlying reserves in the Spicy Chicken unit?
Yeah, so we have two existing facilities over in the Paxi unit. One was built in 2023, one was built later in 2024. The 2024 facility is a PR standard. It has all the best facility designs and operational procedures worked into the design process. So that coupled with the midstream takeaway, we also have a microgrid there, which is able to distribute power to the Paxi development, as well as plans to distribute that same power over to the Spicy Chicken development. And then we also have H2S treatment there set up for gas treatment. So all those things put together allow us to quickly move on the Spicy Chicken development utilizing those said assets.
And then to confirm, you have power distribution systems in place that can generate power for Spicy Chicken?
That's correct. Utility power in New Mexico is challenging to get. So companies are now focused on generating their own power through microgrids. So we have that at the Paxi East development, and that is able to generate power not only for that CTB and artificial lift systems, but also the spicy chicken CTB and artificial lift systems there.
Have you seen anything from Avant about them having their own power distribution system?
I have not.
How long would it take to get something like that in place?
The biggest challenge for a microgrid is getting the overhead electric power line right away. So achieving an easement, especially among federal lands, could take 9 to 12 months just to get the overhead electric right away.
Can you tell me a little bit more about the existing Permian Resources facilities that they have in the adjoining unit? Maybe like CTB facilities, that sort of thing.
Sure. Yeah, I'll focus on the 2024 PAXI EC's TB since Permian Resources built that. That facility consists of 40-ounce storage tanks. Were best in class. Storage tanks have grown from 8-ounce to 16 to now 14. So that 14-ounce production storage tank allows for better emissions control, better vapor recovery. There as well, we have a vapor recovery tower and then vapor recovery units to increase the potential emissions. Those are captured in the production storage tanks. We also have, as mentioned, water gathering set up and then gas gathering and gas treatment.
And does Avant have any of these production handling facilities or infrastructure near the spicy chicken spacing unit?
Not that I'm aware of.
Are there any area-specific challenges that you believe Permian Resources is better prepared to handle?
At this day and time, midstream gathering, since we do have it connected to the existing facilities, which we can also use for the spicy chicken, and then just an understanding of H2S in the area. PAXI East does have first bone wells with H2S at about 1,100 parts per million, and we're able to effectively treat that at a lower cost than what sour gas takeaway would be in the area.
And why are those challenges on the facility side of things?
The biggest, the two biggest challenges are time. Getting a contract in place with a midstream company is a process in itself. But once that's approved, then that midstream company is to start building their facilities, their compressor stations, and then they also need to acquire right away. And again, with federal lands and state lands, the right-of-way process can take at minimum 9 months, in some cases 12 to 16 months. So that's the timing component of it is a big challenge. And then just the H2S component and CO2 in the area, which we understand, there's the midstream companies have certain specs that you have to meet. So we've talked a lot about gas takeaway and having the option to have sour gas pipelines or having treatment options. One thing that hasn't been mentioned today is oil treatment. So in the oil phase, there's going to be entrained gas, and that gas has H2S in it. There's not a midstream company, oil midstream company out there that's going to accept oil with that type of spec, with that H2S in it. So you have to treat that, which if you're not prepared to do so, can cost you a lot on chemical treatment costs. Whereas we've developed a mechanical process through the use of what we call a contact tower.
And is that a Permian Resources developed?
There's different operators that have used it, largely in Canada, some in North Dakota, but we believe we've pioneered and optimized it here in the Permian.
So with that H2S treatment method, do you have to rely on midstream companies' takeaway for sour gas?
So I was referring to the oil. So with that being said, we manage it ourselves. With gas treatment that we have at the PAXI, no, we can treat that ourselves and get it into a sweet gas gathering pipeline. And as I mentioned today, we're able to do that cheaper than what sour gas gathering would be.
And for the H2S in the oil phase, which is not something that Avant has addressed, Permian Resources would be up and running to handle that at Spicy Chicken.
That's right.
Have you reviewed the exhibits submitted by Avant's engineer?
I have.
And what is your understanding of Avant's position in these cases from the facilities perspective?
Listening to testimony and looking at the exhibits, my understanding is they are close to having contracts in place for crude and gas gathering and are pursuing other gas gathering connections, but nothing is firm. And then as well, just do not have any existing facilities in the area.
And have you provided a rebuttal exhibit, which has been marked as Exhibit D10?
Yes.
And I know this is objected to, so do we want to handle that now?
Yes, now would be a great time.
Okay. I don't know what the objection is.
I'm not objecting. I've
Reject.
withdrawn
The
my objection.
objection has been withdrawn.
Oh,
So
okay, that one.
the exhibit is admitted into evidence. That means that all of Permian exhibits, some need to be revised, but all of Permian's exhibits have been admitted into evidence. Do you concur, Ms. McLean?
Yeah, I believe that's true at this point, yes.
Ms. Bennett, do you agree with that statement?
I do.
Okay, good. And then just to be clear, all of Avant's exhibits have been admitted as well.
Correct.
Do you agree with that? You do. And do you agree with that?
I do. Thank
Okay,
you.
fantastic. And the court reporter got that too. Oh, yeah. Okay, good. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Okay, put it there. Okay, so can you please explain what's shown on your exhibit D10? And there's 2 pages of that exhibit.
Yeah, so on this slide here, I'm showing Avant's exhibit C5 on the bottom left, which addresses surface impact, a comparison between PR's plan, Permian Resources, and Avant's. And it was initially shown that Permian Resources would impact about 32 acres of surface, and Avant would impact 17.9. But they are referencing the original development plan that was on-sited by Earthstone in August of 2023. Earthstone had some different development plans at the time, so they were looking to utilize more space than what PR is today. And then another big important part of the on-site process with the BLM is they want you to go out there and map out the maximum impact of surface. So you don't need to come back and do additional surveys after the fact to ask for more land. So we followed the BLM's recommendation and on-site kind of guidance to create the largest surface impact possible. And that provides flexibility. But then as it comes into PR's ownership and we take a look at it, our goal is to reduce surface impact. Obviously, that's great for all stakeholders, but it also has an economic impact as well. So as we're able to reduce footprint and consolidate wells onto 2 paths, we're able to save money on the pad costs and save money on flow lines.
Let's go to the second page of D10. Can you tell me what that shows? Just very slow.
Okay. Yeah, so these are the said 2 well pads that we're planning to put the full development on, the west and the east. You can see that the west pad has, I believe it's 16 surface hole locations, and then the east pad has 14. I believe those numbers might be wrong, but I have them written down somewhere. I believe it's a total of 29 surface hole locations across these 2 pads. So this goes to show that we are actively pursuing this option.
And what will Permian Resources total surface impact be, not including flow lines?
Can you go back to the exhibit?
Yeah. Might take a second.
That's okay.
Like,
Yeah, I just want to misspeak. So without flow lines, we are looking at 17 acres of surface impact versus Avant 17.9.
So there's really no material difference in surface disturbance here.
That's correct.
And let's look at Mr. Harper's testimony at paragraph 15. Yeah. Oh, there. Oh, wait, no, not Mr. Kelly. Sorry. Sorry. Mr.
Yeah,
Kelly.
I can't answer that one.
Don't want to answer about stratigraphic cross sections. I guess his rebuttal testimony. So, exhibit at paragraph 15. Did this very late at night. I might have put the wrong.
Oh, is it the exhibit or is it going to be the testimony?
I think it's, let me just ask you.
Sure.
Did you hear Mr. Kelly's testimony yesterday that there may have been additional on-sites required by BLM for the change in Permian Resources surface plan?
I heard them brought that up as a concern.
And that was because it was a much smaller surface disturbance than what was initially proposed.
Yes, I think smaller and different from what they initially saw.
It is Mr. Harper's rebuttal. That's right. Okay, rebuttal paragraph 15 of Mr. Harper.
Okay.
We're going to show you that. So we got the right language here. Okay. Here, Mr. Harper says that Avant was not notified of any changes or additional BLM on-sites that included a different service plan than what was emailed in October 2025. In my experience, when an operator proposes changes to surface facilities of this magnitude, a second on-site with BLM may be required and Avant would have been entitled to notice of the on-site. Do you agree with what he's stated there?
No,
Would those changes in your experience trigger a second on-site with BLM?
the fact that we are making changes within the confines of the approved boundaries by the on-site, the answer is no.
Why not?
I guess as I just mentioned, so when you go to the on-site, you want the biggest impact possible. You want to talk about that with the BLM and agree to what your surface disturbance is going to be. And then when you look to downsize within those approved boundaries, at that point in time, you don't need to provide a notification to the BLM or to other operators. If we are going to change the development plan, adding new flow lines or extending pads, moving pads, at that point in time, I agree that we would have to notify the BLM, do another on-site, notify other operators. But again, the fact that we are working in the confines of approved boundaries and downsizing, we don't need to make those notifications.
And based on your review of Avant's exhibits and listening to their testimony yesterday, did you hear any discussion of whether Avant has midstream service contracts currently in place?
Not currently.
And Avant doesn't have any discussion of existing facilities in the area?
No.
And what does that tell you?
It tells me that they're not prepared to develop this spicy chicken today.
And based on your experience, how long might it be before Avant is actually able to utilize midstream services in this location?
From my experience, the contractual piece of it can take some time. There's potentially some hiccups on how that goes and when that finally gets inked. At that point in time, you kick off construction processes and right away acquisition processes, surveys, et cetera. Best case, minimum 9 months, but more typically 12 to 16 months.
And in your opinion, does Permian Resources have a superior facility plan?
Yes.
Can you please summarize the reasons for that?
We have an existing facility and facilities in the area. We have existing infrastructure, existing microgrid and power distribution, as well as an existing H2S treatment setup or equipment that's able to effectively treat the H2S that we have now and that we're planning for this initial spicy chicken development.
And will Permian Resources be ready to begin producing in a much more timely and efficient manner than Avant?
Yes.
Think you have no further questions.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
Hi. And as you've heard me say to everybody else, just let me know if you can't hear me,
Sure.
or if I need to repeat something, my voice is definitely potentially degrading during the day.
Yeah, sorry.
I wanted to just talk about a few things that you just testified about. A moment ago, you testified that the PAXI facilities are appropriate or planned for the initial spicy chicken development. Do you remember saying that a moment ago?
Yes.
And so is that, when you talked about the H2S treatment plant that you have at PAXI, is that capable of handling the H2S that could be generated by Avalon development?
Avalon, no.
Okay, so it's limited to first Bone Spring development.
First and second, yeah.
What would Permian have to do in order to be prepared to take Avalon H2S?
We would want to have sour gas gathering.
So in your opinion, sour gas gathering is the way to go for Avalon H2S?
For Avalon, yes.
And although I know we disagree about the certainty of what Avant testified to yesterday, they did testify that they are working on getting sour gas takeaway, right?
Yes, we are as well.
How long do you anticipate that will take you to get?
We are working, Traces who we're working with and connected to, they are actively working on their permit. They're working on their APDs and plan to have those submitted by the end of the month. So I think, 12 to 16 months, we would have that online.
And so is it fair to say that it would take you at least 12 to 16 months to be able to produce the Avalon?
I think that's fair.
And how much, so you're not planning on upgrading the PAXI H2S treatment plant to handle the Avalon H2S?
So we have like two development strategies, which I included in exhibit, I believe, D1 or D2. So we have the existing PAXI facility that we can bring this first phase of wells into with the concentration expected from the first bone. That facility is well equipped to handle it. If the reservoir team and the rest of the team decides that the Avalon is a viable target, at that point in time, we would execute on building a new spicy chicken CTV that would be better equipped to handle the H2S and CO2 involved with the Avalon development.
How long would it take you to develop and build that new CTV?
We build facilities within 30 days.
Okay, so really the long lead time would be the takeaway that you're waiting for now.
That's correct.
I'm going to ask you a few questions about your facilities exhibits. And the first one is in your rebuttal exhibit. This is your facilities surface. Oh, shoot, I need to start sharing. Give me just a second here. Your rebuttal exhibit D10, is that right?
Yes.
And what slide of Avance are you rebutting with this exhibit D10?
Exhibit C5 of Avance.
Okay. And what, oh, I see, because you were trying to show the reason, sorry, why were you using this as a rebuttal slide to Avant C5?
Just C5 from Avant had showed what our surface impact was and provided a layout of our facility plans and well pad plans, which would show the previous and initial on-site, whereas I'm here showing that, that was old, this is new, and this is what our plan is today.
And in reviewing Avant's rebuttal slides, do you see that they've acknowledged that this is what your current plan looks like now?
Yes.
Okay. And I think a moment ago, you testified that your current facility plan and their plan are essentially the same.
From a surface disturbance, yes.
Yes. When did you make the decision to change from the Earthstone development surface facility plan to the surface facility plan that's shown on Exhibit D10?
A part of this process, preparing slides for this hearing, we wanted to include like the updated plats, which I showed on the existing exhibit. So we have been talking about this for I guess the last 3 to 4 weeks.
So it's a relatively recent change,
Yes.
even though you've been planning on developing this acreage diligently since 2024.
To give from a facility standpoint, the BLM on site is handled with the regulatory and landmen. Once it gets down to like actual well execution and surface facility planning, that's where I involve myself and look to see if we can optimize, which at this point in time requested my attention, and we provided our recommendation.
Did you base your recommendation off of Avant's development plan?
No.
And so I'm just wanting to make sure that I understand that there's only been one BLM on site for Earthstone/Permian, is that right?
That's correct, in August of 2023.
And what is this? It's a survey, I know that, I'm not
Yeah.
trying.
Yeah.
It's a survey.
Yeah.
But why did you provide this as part of your rebuttal exhibit?
I think just to add some additional context of how many wells we would add to each of these paths to show the full extent of the development.
And these are dated April 17th. It's pretty small, but do you see that right down there?
Yes.
So these are even more recent than your development plans.
When we were preparing the slides for this, we requested updated surveys.
So you've been refining your plans in response to this contested hearing.
We're always refining our plans to ensure that we make the best economic decisions.
And let me just get to your other exhibits here. I'm showing a C102 here, and I know that this is outside of your expertise, but this shows the survey date down here of 4/9/2026. And if you don't know the answer to this, please just feel free to say you don't know, but do you know why the C102s were updated in April of 2026? Was that in conjunction with the updates to the development plan?
I'm not sure. I'm not a part of the form process.
Okay. Earlier, you testified that it would take some time for Avant to get rights of way. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And I know you had a chance to review their exhibits, right?
Yes.
And this is Avant exhibit C4. Do you see this?
Mm-hmm.
And do you see where it says for gas, the service provider right of way efforts are in process?
Yes.
And for crude, the service provider has the right of way in hand.
That's what it says.
Okay, so, and do you have any reason to doubt what it says?
I haven't seen a midstream company spend money on acquiring right of way without a contract in place.
And so, but you don't.
From my experience, it wouldn't be prudent of an operator to spend money to connect to a midstream company without a contract in place. And it would make the right business decision for a midstream company to connect to an operator without a contract in place.
And the first bullet under crude says commercial agreements and dedication in place. Is that the contract that you're referring to?
That's what it says, but testimony yesterday said that it was near completion.
And do you recall if that testimony was about the sour gas takeaway?
No, Mr. Kelly said that both crude and gas gathering were not close to completion.
And I think that I understand what you're saying, but your testimony a moment ago was that it was going to take Avant some time to get the rights of way, right?
Yes.
And seeing this on this slide, does that change your opinion about the timeline that it might take Avant to get rights of way?
I have to take their, sworn testimony as face value.
So does that change your mind about the amount of time that it might take?
I just have a hard time providing an answer, seeing that bullet one says commercial agreements are in place, but hearing something different yesterday.
I understand this might be outside of your area of expertise, but your testimony just now is that it's unusual, or you would be surprised if there was rights of way being acquired if there wasn't an agreement in place. And have you ever heard of a right of way reimbursement agreement?
I have, yeah.
And so it's not out of the ordinary to have alternative paths forward for rights of way.
Permian Resources hasn't pursued that, but it's an option, sure.
Okay. And sorry about that.
That's okay.
Yesterday, and I understand you might not know the answer to this, but yesterday I had an exchange with Mr. Haddock about an email from the BLM regarding not being able to use the existing drill islands. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Do you know, were you CC'd on those emails by any chance?
No.
Okay, so you're not sure if those emails have been found and could be provided?
I'm not sure, no.
Okay. Just one more second. I've got so many notes here. For all the questions I had, thank you.
Mr. McClure?
Mr. Hearing Examiner, I have no questions for this expert witness.
Ms. McLean?
No more questions.
Perfect. May this witness be excused?
He may.
Thank you, Mr. Clements. All right, does Permian Resources rest its case?
We do.
Perfect. Is there any reason, Ms. Bennett, that you have additional evidence?
No.
No. And Ms. McLean?
No.
No. All right. Sounds like the evidentiary record is closed, with the exception of documents that Mr. McClure is going to painfully illustrate now. Mr. McClure, which party do you want to start with?
Half a dozen one way, 6 the other. I guess I'm
Why don't
holding the Permian one, but go ahead, Mr. Hearing Examiner, if you had a recommendation.
Why don't we start with that notice issue?
Okay, works for me. I think we already discussed it. Do you want me to draw Ms. McLean's attention to specifically what we're looking at, I assume?
I think so.
And Ms. McLean, if I can draw your attention to the application for case 25835. Let me see if I can find a page number. Looks like it's page 55 of 278.
Yes.
I don't know if I can hear you if you said something, Ms. McLean.
Oh, I was just confirming that was in the Permian Resources exhibit.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes, case 25835.
Yep, and we talked about it some or there towards the beginning, but specifically I'm looking at, do you see where it says there, north half of northwest quarter of section 26?
Yes, it should just be northwest quarter of section 26.
Correct. And because of this, we're going to have to conduct new notice for this case. It appears that this incorrect legal description had found its way throughout the written notice here, the public notice that was conducted, as well as the notice that the division had put out.
Yeah, so what we have previously done, just to confirm that this is sufficient, is file an amended application with the division, send Ms. Chance a new abstract to be published ahead of the next docket. We would also send out notice to the interest owners as well as publish in the newspaper.
I would agree that that would be our normal procedure and that would be the way to rectify it here. My only concern is if there's any complications needed because of it being a competing case. And I don't know if we would continue it, or I guess we would need to continue it. I don't know if you have any thoughts, Mr. Hearing Examiner, on how you'd like to proceed.
I do. First of all, let me write down so that I'm clear, which case numbers does this affect?
This is
Just-
affecting case number 25835.
So one of the three.
One of the
Is it not three?
10
It's
or
just
a
one.
dozen or something.
1 out of 13 total applications.
One of 13, excuse me. Okay, Ms. Bennett, any objection to their filing an amended application and renoticing that case?
I'm struggling a little with this.
I can see that.
And I'm struggling with it because I'm about to say something that's probably contrary to my own interest.
Well, no one's asking you to
Uh-huh.
say anything contrary
Yeah.
to your own interest. Is there an objection or isn't there?
Is the only change they're going to make to rectify the north half of the northwest quarter of section 26?
Yeah, it's going to be the northwest quarter, not the north half of the northwest quarter.
How does that pertain to paragraph 2 then?
I'm not looking at paragraph 2, so
and
I'm not
this is-
sure what you're saying.
Yeah, well, then paragraph 2 says it's,
It has a wrong last take point if we're going to be doing the entire northwest quarter. It should be E. It should be E of section 26 as a last take point.
Mr. McClure, are you listening to this?
I am, Mr. Hearing Examiner. Traditionally, historically, maybe it's a better way to say it, the division has not been requiring new notice for details like that, I
Okay.
guess. Primarily, we've been focusing on the formation and legal description as kind of the red line.
Okay. So we would not be requiring Permian to add that detail. We're just saying it's not the north half of the northwest quarter, it's the northwest quarter.
and Mr. Herring, Examiner,
Yes.
with that, may I add another? This application, as they're proposing to amend it, is different than their proposal letter. The proposal letter that Permian sent out reflects paragraph 2. So the legal description that the division and Permian are proposing to include now have never been proposed to the working interest owners. So I understand the desire to fix this expeditiously, but I don't know that simply amending and doing notice does not account for the fact that the proposal letter is incorrect, and also does not account for the fact that their application in the materials does not match up with all of their testimony. So there's a real disconnect between their application and their testimony and the proposal letter that was sent out.
Okay, before I go to you, Ms. McLean, Mr. McClure, did you hear that part?
Yes, I did, Mr. Hearing Examiner. Maybe just for clarification, are you saying Ms. Bennett, or Ms. Bennett, are you saying that the, for some reason escaping me, the sign up
proposal?
letters, the
The
proposal
proposal.
letters is incorrect? Is that what you're saying, Ms. Bennett?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. The proposal letter for the 201H wells is incorrect. It says, I can share my screen if that would be useful.
It might be if you want to show me exactly what you're referring to.
Yeah, just 1 second here while I. So here's the proposal letter for the 201H well. And it says it's 1210 from the west line and 100 from the north line of section 23. And then it says it's 1210 from the west line and 100 from the north line of section 26, which would not be the northwest quarter of section 26. It would be the north half of the northwest quarter of section 26.
Be in the north half of the northwest quarter. So if they would be, so then just help me understand this before we go to Ms. McLean, because I don't understand. This is way more than I'm normally used to. So they have identified a well in a particular area. You're saying that that well location is no longer correct?
I don't know if it's correct or not.
That's correct.
This is what their proposal letter was,
Right.
and this is what their application says.
Right.
And it's vastly different from, not vastly, I'm exaggerating. It's 80 acres different than what's in their materials in their testimony.
So now they would be noticing a larger area, right?
They would be, which is a different spacing unit altogether.
I'll let you interpret this, Ms. McLean, because you're gonna have to help me with understanding the objection and your argument.
I mean, she is not wrong.
Right.
And what I can say is that we drafted the application based on the well proposed letter, which had the last take point in Unit C. And that is also why we had this as a 400-acre spacing unit with the west half of section 23 and the north half northwest quarter of section 26. It is Permian Resources' intention to have a 480-acre spacing unit. And if you see in the all of our testimony and exhibits and our checklist, we have it as 480 acres in the plat for the 201H well. Although the total acreage says 400, the plat shows 480 acre spacing unit. We drafted our testimony based off of that plat. And so the testimony is correct. And the intention of Permian Resources is to have not that wonky, weird, one random Wolfcamp well that's shorter than the others, but with a 480 acre spacing unit for that. I believe, I guess in the spirit of a contested hearing, we are presenting our full development plan. And the full development plan includes that 480 acre west half Wolfcamp well. I believe we have more than enough time based on, how long it takes to get a order on a contested hearing to cure all of this. And I don't think it should impact, what's been presented to the division during this hearing. And I believe the division has already indicated they're willing to allow us to cure this deficiency. And whether that means we can send out a new proposal letter for this just one, then 30 days after that, we do the amended application. Then 30 days after that, you guys notice it for hearing. That will never happen because we are in a contested hearing right now.
So, Ms. Bennett, are you suggesting then that what Ms. McLean just said, that they should send out new proposal letters, is the beginning of the cure and not just filing an amended application? If
the division is inclined to consider granting their application, then it needs to be done correctly. So yes.
Mr. McClure, you've heard the arguments. What do you think?
I mean, the election letter is not giving me heartburn at all about, I mean, essentially they proposed a shorter lateral than what, or let me back up. It's the last take point is currently depicting a shorter lateral than what they're actually proposing. They're going to have to send out new election letters to update their AFEs regardless, before they're going to be drilling any wells, assuming that they were rewarded or assuming that their applications are approved. So I don't know what your thoughts are, but it wouldn't give me any heartburn, I guess, to proceed with just the written notice rather than new election letters.
Okay. I'm trying to decide whether. So, Ms. Bennett, we're back to you. I understand that you think the best route is A. I've heard from the technical examiner, I've heard from Ms. McLean. It's their application. Ultimately, it's their application. And depending on how it's handled, the division will consider its strengths and weaknesses along with yours. The division seems to feel as though an amended application, renoticed properly and published by the division, is sufficient notice and does not require a new proposal letter, or Mr. McClure just called it an election letter. I'm not sure if it's the same thing, but I'll leave it alone. I don't even know that there is a legal objection for me to deal with at this point. Because both parties have the burden of persuasion to show the division that they should be approved and not denied. You don't have a notice problem. Theirs has a notice problem. So I think at this point, thinking this through, I think this really is between Mr. McClure and Ms. McLean, how this is going to be handled. And I don't think it's open for objection. I understand your position that you think it needs more, but it is what it is. So Ms. McLean, you're okay with what Mr. McClure wants you to do?
Yes, we're happy to do that.
I'm happy to do that. Okay. And that should take approximately, so you're going to, this should take approximately 60 days then, it sounds like.
Yeah, I think we can apply for the June docket. Do the new application in a timely
Sure,
manner
sure.
for that, the June dockets notice.
Now, I want to be careful here, Mr. McClure, because the division has to be neutral, has to be fair and impartial to both parties. So I know you've identified a flaw in the notice. So we'll leave it okay, so we've dealt with the notice now. What else do you want the parties? Let's start with Permian Resources. What do you want the Permian Resources to fix or supplement or change in their exhibit packet?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Hearing Examiner. Ms. McLean, starting with the CPAC. Let me actually get to one of the pages here just so I have it directly in front of me as well. Okay, I believe on all the Bone Spring CPACs. So do you also happen to have one of your CPACs in front of you, Ms. McLean?
Yes, that was the API number.
Yeah, that's one of them. And you see what I'm referring to, where it has like, and you're pulling this vertical extent. It says like
Yes.
Hansen State #1.
Yes, I see that. API,
Okay,
and then
and
we put in parentheses, just correcting the API number there.
Yeah, you just missed the 5th digit, I think. If I remember right, it's like 24997, but you'll need to look it up and make sure you put the right one in there.
Yes, we will do that.
In addition to that, for your Bone Spring 1 and Bone Spring 2 cases, we need to correct the vertical depth that is depicted in that vertical extent box. Are you familiar with what I'm referring to?
Yes, and that actually, I did have that as a question. If we are correcting that to the I think it's 9,444 feet TBD, do you still want the Hanson state number 1 as the reference log?
It doesn't matter
Okay.
to the division which well you want to tie it to. If I remember right, this well is kind of to the northeast of the proposed units, and the one that Avant uses, I think, is in section 26, if I remember right. But I don't know if the division has a preference, as long as it's right in the same area, I guess.
Okay, we can correct that TBD.
Yeah, and I believe it was the 9,400 something needs to be corrected to like 9,100 or 9,200. I don't remember now.
Yes, correct.
Okay. And then for your depth severance field, I know currently you have like you're discussing like the vertical limits, but that's not what we're looking for this box. Instead, what we're looking for is a description of the depth severances. So a more appropriate description would be, like the top of the second bone spring, the base of the second bone spring in section 26, in the north half section 26, something along those lines. And then also reference wherever those are going to hit, presumably at 9930 TBD, and then at this 9100 or whatever it is TBD.
Yes, we can do that.
Okay, for your wolf camp cases, we need to correct the pool to the pool I provided you with yesterday. I can provide it to you again right now if that would be helpful.
We have a note of the Hat Mesa Wolf Camp 96438.
Okay, I don't have it directly in front of me, but Hat Mesa would be correct. In addition to that, we need to change the primary product field for those wolf camp cases from oil to gas. Or excuse me, from gas to oil. I apologize, Ms.
Okay,
McQueen.
I was gonna say,
They're
oh
currently
man, I thought we
gas,
went
they
over
need to
that.
be oil.
Okay.
In addition to that, because of that, I guess, on your east half wolf camp cases, you have two cases in the east half. For those, you would be changing it so it now no longer needs an NSP. Are you in agreement with that assessment?
Yes, and we're very happy to not have to worry about that anymore.
Okay, in addition to that, and also because of the gas to oil, for your west half wolf camp case, you're now going to need to identify that proxy well, which from looking at it, it looks like it is centered. So it looks like your well that's dedicated to it is a proxy well. But if we could just correct the CPAC to properly identify it. Yep. Okay, in addition to that, for your Bone Spring 1 cases, let me actually scroll to one of those. See, your top one is 838. Yeah, currently it reads first bone spring interval, and then comma from the top of the bone spring formation to the base of the first bone spring interval. If we can correct it to either we move the reference to the first to solely the first bone spring interval, or change it to be like Avalon and first bone spring interval, something along those lines. It's essentially what we need is, if you're going to include the first bone spring interval, we also need to include the Avalon. Otherwise, you could remove reference and then just base it off of top of bone spring to base the first bone spring. That's essentially the same description.
Okay.
Okay, in your Exhibit A, the landman statement, if we could fix any reference to that TBD regarding the Bone Spring 1 and Bone Spring 2 cases division, again, referring to like this 9,400 being changed to whatever it is.
Yes.
And then in your Exhibit A4, the C102s, if we can correct the Wolfcamp cases to reference the correct pool. And in addition to that, the C102 for your 201H, if you can correct your dedicated acreage from your 400 to your, from your
400 to 480.
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah, I'm with you. Okay, in your Exhibit A-6, in the summary breakout, we were referencing there's one of your breakouts, the one on page 132. There's just a simple typo where Permian is listed as owning interest in track 1 and track 2, but that breakout only has track 1. So if we can correct that table.
Yes, we have already done that. So yes, we will do that one.
Very good. And then, and I neglected to touch base with your geologist on this. So it's possible we may have to bring them back if you don't understand what I'm looking at. In my note, I have Exhibit B15. Let me see if I can actually find the page.
We can share the screen if that's helpful.
It could be. Just make sure we're all looking at the same thing. Yeah, there we go. Yep, page 29, 123. Yep, I'm with you. Maybe we should bring back the geologist. I apologize, Mr. Herring Examiner. Maybe we should bring back the geologist on this one.
Okay, he's coming back. Thank you. I remind you, you're still under oath. Go right ahead, Mr. McClure.
Thank you, Mr. Herring Examiner. On this, where you have the blue dotted box selected, do you see where I'm referring to?
Yes, sir.
Is it accurate to say that that's only depicting the Bone Spring 1 sand?
In the entire blue box?
Yeah, at the top of the blue box where you have like your spicy chicken 11H.
Well, the entire blue box depicts just all the application wells, including, the second bone shell, the second bone sand, and the third bone spring. So I'm just showing the application well, sir.
Okay, I see. I guess this would be the same argument or the same discussion that I had with Mr. Higgerson just a little bit ago.
Yes, sir.
With that in mind, it should be fine then. I have no further questions. Thank you, Mr. Herring Examiner. Ms. McLean, we can leave this exhibit as it is.
Okay, hold on, Mr. McClure. Would you state your name again?
Chris Canton.
Thank you. Person recalled.
Yeah.
Geologist. Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. McClure, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Herring Examiner.
So really, B15 is fine, it sounds like.
That is correct, Mr. Herring Examiner. Ms. McLean can remove it from the list of amended exhibits.
One less thing.
Ms. McLean, Exhibit C-2, that is the gun barrel. And I mean, we didn't talk about it very long ago, but if we need to, we can look at it again real fast. But this is just in regards to the formation labels on
Yes,
the
the
right
wolf
hand.
camp.
Yes, exactly. In regards to like the Wolf Camp versus Upper Penn or Cisco Canyon, however you want to identify that. But
We'll consult the geologist with that.
and then in regards, well, Mr. Do you want to bring back Mr. Higgerson to make sure he understood? I believe he said he did, but okay.
Yeah, I think he knows what you want fixed.
Sounds good. And then in addition to that, the Exhibit C-7, which is like that summary cost breakout.
Yes,
we could
take off
remove-
Avant in the footnote.
Yes, that is correct, Ms. McLean. And I believe that's everything I have for Permium.
Okay,
Unless,
let's go
was
on.
there anything that I missed that you're aware of, Ms.
You,
McLean?
you missed nothing, ever. Now
Oh,
go on.
okay.
Go on.
That is, no one's ever accused Mr. McClure of missing something.
Go on to Ms. Bennett and Avant, please.
Thank you, Mr. Hearing Examiner. Ms. Bennett, are you there with me, it looks like?
I am.
Okay, I'm starting with your CPAC as well. Let me get to one of them. Okay, did you hear my guidance to Ms. McLean in regards to the depth severance box and what I'd like for you to have there?
If you wouldn't mind repeating that for me,
Yes.
I would appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely. What it looks like, what you currently have included is you kind of like broke out like the unitized intervals that you're asking for. What I'd rather see is kind of just a description of where both of the depth severances is occurring. So it'd be something along the lines of like the top of the second bone spring at blah, blah in blah, blah well, the base of the second bone spring at such and such depth and at such and such well.
Okay, and just so I'm clear then, where we say pooling this vertical extent, that's fine. But it's where we got the row for depth severance, that's where you're asking us to make this change.
Yes, that's absolutely correct. I know, but a number of our applicants are kind of like duplicating the pooling this vertical extent into that depth severance box, but that really wasn't the intent of the depth severance box. Instead, we just want, just a simple list of the different points that depth severances occur within the bone spring formation is what we're looking for.
I understand those words. Whether I will understand how to implement them was to be determined.
Well, hopefully anyway. Okay, in the vertical extent for your bone spring 2 case, and actually it looks like I happen to be the CPAC I'm on. So on page 10 of 322, do you see where it currently says second bone spring defined as the it would actually, if we could correct that to be the second bone spring sand defined at blah, blah.
Will do.
Okay. And then I know you had mentioned, or Ms. Saratinos had mentioned that you wish to submit an amended Exhibit A-6 to include an additional offer to Permium. Is that correct?
Yes, we want to amend the communication summary to reflect that additional offer. And then we also need to amend the, and you may be getting to this, but it's an exhibit before Exhibit A6, so I thought I just mention it. The ownership breakdown to identify the additional ownership interest that Avant is in the process of acquiring.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but what you're referencing is that Avant has acquired the Trainer Partners LTD interest. Is that correct? Well, that's what you're referring to, correct?
That's what I'm referring to, yes.
Okay, and I believe that that falls in, and correct me if it's any other exhibits, but I believe it is Exhibit A-9, A-13, A-17, and A-21. Does that sound correct to you, Ms. Bennett?
It does, but it's also in exhibit. Um,
Well, let me make a note of that. Which other
Yeah.
exhibit is it, Ms. Bennett?
A4.
Oh, A4, okay. Okay, then do you recall the discussion that I had with your landman in regards to the depicted HSUs for the NSP exhibit? The first one appearing like Exhibit A-11.
I do.
Okay, if we can go ahead and correct those depicted HSUs for each occurrence, I believe it's A-11, A-15, A-19, and A-23. Does that sound correct to you?
That does, thank you.
Okay. And in addition, you'd planned on submitting to us the waiver for the NSP from BEXP 2, correct?
Yes, I do, thank you.
And you're going to submit that as like a supplemental A something, is that also correct?
Yes, I will.
Okay, very good. In regards to the trainer partners LTD acquisition, if you could also correct your commitment table found in Exhibit A25 to, I guess, now remove trainer partners from there.
I will definitely fix that, whatever needs to be done, since they are committed. I can't remember, I'm just looking at my slide to see if I put committed and uncommitted, so I'll just change them to committed if I have both in there.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but now they no longer own an interest, right? It's now owned by Avant, was what the testimony was, or am I wrong?
Oh, no, you're right there, it's pending acquisition, so I suppose we would change them to just remove them.
Oh, it's pending acquisition rather than
Yes.
actually acquired? Maybe I misunderstood the testimony then. So then, to your understanding then, Avant doesn't currently own Trainer Partners LTD.
Not as of Monday, but I know it was imminently going to close. So can I just ask for a little leeway on figuring out how best to address that in the committed, uncommitted?
Well, what I'm getting at is I don't know if it's even appropriate to take them out of the breakout, if that was what you were, like we were just discussing. I had thought Ms. Saratino's had said that they were actually acquired now. Maybe I completely misunderstood her testimony then.
I believe our testimony was that they were pending acquisition. And it wasn't that we were proposing to take them out of the breakout, but rather to show them as committed to Avant. So their interest, Avant's overall interest would increase.
Okay, well, with that in mind, then I guess we would leave it in there, and on the commitment table, you would put it to similar to the description that you have for like Petrol X or whatever that other company was.
Yeah.
Do you recall what I'm referencing, Ms. Bennett?
I do.
Okay, then Exhibit C-1, there's reference to the PAX HSU to the east. I believe that you had brought up, or your expert witness had, that you intend on removing the depiction of an Avalon well from that map there. Do you recall what I'm referring to?
I do.
Okay, then the one last change is your rebuttal exhibit C-5. if we could make a similar change to it as what Permium is making to its similar exhibit, that being to remove reference of Permium's costs from that table.
So you want that exhibit to just be Avant's revised AFE costs, not a comparison?
Well, would you be in agreement that that would now be that removal of Permium's costs would be the appropriate equivalence to what Permium did to its exhibit?
Well, Mr. McClure, I think it depends on whether the costs are accurate or not. I think the problem with the Permian exhibit was that it referred to costs that were not accurate, which is why they're being removed.
But I think it has my understanding was that the costs that are there are connected to the AFEs that are inaccurate that Permium has. Is my understanding correct, Ms. Bennett, on that? Or Mr. Hearing Examiner?
I do understand his concern. Sitting here right now, I don't know the answer to that. But if it is incorrect, I will remove it as he's suggesting.
Could you pull up a copy?
I can.
Hold on, Mr.
Mr.
McClure, we're gonna look at it.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if we needed to bring back one of the expert witnesses and talk about it, or what you thought on that.
No. There's no room, no room for that.
Not in are you still logged in? I got kicked out again. Do you mind
No
pulling up
problem.
rebuttal C5? Thank you.
Thanks.
And Mr. Hearing Examiner,
Let me do this
Okay.
first. Let me do this first. Okay, here we have it. Okay, now, Mr. McClure, are you suggesting, there's no suggestion here that Avant's numbers are wrong, right?
No. I guess I had originally thought they took these numbers from the AFEs, but I guess if they duplicated the numbers from Permium's exhibit C-7, then maybe there is no concern actually. Is that what occurred here? Does this have identical cost to the C-7? Or is this AFE based?
Mr. McClure, we have the witness still here who made this table. We can bring him back and ask him. Yeah.
Mr. Higginson made the Permian Resources C7 that was copied by Avant to make this table.
Oh.
So I don't think there's any dispute that the bottom Permian Resources number is identical to what is in Permian Resources exhibit C7.
But the C7 from Permian that is going to be retained or jettisoned?
The part that's
I
retained,
thought so.
yes,
So,
because the PR costs that's not changing. It's just the Avant are not the most
in the
updated.
Permian exhibit, the Avant numbers were wrong because they made it. But
They're not, they don't match this.
Hold on a second. Are these Permian numbers 3-string or 4-string numbers?
4.
These are 4-string numbers, right? Okay, and he's nodding. And he's a witness on the road still. So Mr. McClure, these Permian numbers are accurate because these are the 4-string numbers. Avant used correct numbers from Permian, my understanding. And if I'm wrong, someone please correct me.
Yeah, Mr. Hearing Examiner, I'm the one that was mistaken. I had thought that they'd use the AFE numbers, which would have been the 3-string numbers, which would now be incorrect. But now looking at it, I am in agreement that this is a duplicate of Permium's C-7. So this would be the correct comparison. Ms. Bennett, we do not need to make a correction to the rebuttal exhibit C-5.
Thank you for that clarification.
And Mr. McClure, that concludes your list?
Mr. Examiner, it does.
Excellent. We have a couple minutes to talk about post-hearing submissions. So let's start with, first of all, the transcript. When will the transcript be ready? Is it 2 weeks?
Freya, is it 10 days, 2 weeks?
10 business days.
10 business days.
Perfect, thank you. So the transcript will be ready in 2 weeks from today, the 22nd. What is that? May, I don't have a calendar in front of me. Does anyone know what 2 weeks? May 6th. Thank you.
Business days.
Well, it's 2 weeks. That's 10 business days. That much I know. So May 6th. So if we don't count May 6th, May 7 will be the first full day that the transcripts are available. How much time do the parties want to both revise and submit exhibits, which we've talked about now, and for closing argument? I'll start with Ms. Bennett.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. First, I would like to point out a few other exhibits that we discussed during the hearing. Yes,
Yours or theirs?
theirs.
Theirs.
Mhm.
Which ones?
During well, these all relate to the rebuttal exhibit C5 with the updated Avant AFE costs. And there's a number of Permian Resources exhibits that relied on the earlier AFE costs. And so in my view, all of those exhibits would need to be revised to reflect the exhibit C5.
Okay.
That's number one.
Do you want to list them so that Ms. McLean has the ability to object if she doesn't think it's proper?
I am happy to list them if I can have a few minutes. I did raise them with their witness as we were talking through each one. And their witness agreed with me that they were incorrect based on the, but I would have to go back through and I can definitely do that. I just need a few minutes.
Are these some of the C exhibits?
Yes. Mhm.
Are these C rebuttal exhibits?
I think it might permeate the whole C.
All of the C, or parts of the C?
Yeah, parts of the C.
Okay, was there something else?
Yes. I, excuse me, I appreciate the division's solution for the first and second Bone Spring wells in terms of allowing Permian to modify its compulsory pooling checklist and all of the testimony that relates to the description of the wells. However, the description of the depth severance is in the public notice that was provided. And so I don't know that, and I'm not trying to overstep my bounds here. It's just that the public notice for all of those cases was incorrect. And that's the notice that was published on the OCD's website. This is also true for the 201H Wolfcamp case. So if the division is inclined to allow Permian to redo the Wolfcamp case, then Permian needs to redo all of the first and second, and I leave it to Permian to decide whether they need to redo the third Bone Spring. But the legal descriptions that showed up in the public notice are all incorrect.
Ms. McLean?
They say first Bone Spring interval, second Bone Spring interval, third Bone Spring interval. I don't think that the footage is part of the quote legal description. We are happy to do whatever the division wants us to do is the bottom line, and whatever we are willing to do whatever Mr. McClure and the division wants us to do.
Mr. McClure?
Mr. Henning Examiner, unless you're inclined to require notice, I wouldn't have, it wouldn't give me heartburn, I guess,
Okay.
if we leave it as is.
All right, then we're going to leave it as it is because Mr. McClure being the technical examiner, I'm going to let him make the final call on that. To me, it's not a legal question. It's more of a technical question. Okay, so.
Mr. Examiner, in terms of the question you did ask though about timing,
Yes.
I think that, and I haven't had a chance to
Right.
confer with Ms. McLean and Ms. Pena or Ms. Hardy about this, But I think it would be premature to do briefing until after we have a chance to reconvene on the new notice and the application that's going to be filed. And also, given that Permian is getting wide latitude to move forward with applications that in Avant's view are not properly noticed, Avant may have some decisions to make about additional steps it intends to take. And so it would be premature to set a briefing schedule until at least the division has had a chance to review the revised, the notice for the Wolf Camp case. And that won't be until the June docket. So I would respectfully request that we come back first for a hearing on the revisions and then set the briefing docket after that, because the transcript will not be complete until the notice is cured.
Ms. McLean?
I am happy to take as long as Avant wants for briefing. Our contested
Yeah.
hearing schedule coming up. I was gonna say, like, what about July?
You were, huh?
Yeah, well, no, I like jokingly, but also seriously, I'm happy to make it July.
You are.
Again, this is not something to us that is super pressing.
Okay.
And so, there's no lease expirations, and I think it's fine to push it.
Okay. Mr. McClure, you heard this, right?
I did, Mr. Hearing Examiner. I personally don't have a preference. However you would like to proceed, Mr. Hearing Examiner, is fine by me.
Well, yeah, I was going to set something for a few weeks from the June hearing by affidavit. Well, it's not a hearing by affidavit, but the reopening of the record for that June docket, but the parties don't seem to be in a hurry. So, okay, we'll postpone until the June reopening of the evidentiary record for whatever we need to do. And then at that time, we can decide how much longer it's going to take. I would hope that by June, the parties would have submitted these corrections here. I don't see any reason to delay the correction.
Oh, no, the corrections, we could do that, no problem. I would suggest maybe we set this for the June status conference docket if we're going to be setting additional deadlines and things of that nature, as opposed to the new June docket, because there's always so many cases. And I think the status conference docket might be more appropriate. I know you need to notice it for the June docket, but perhaps we can file a continuance to the June status conference docket.
That's getting later and later. I mean, that's 2 months from now. What's the matter with having a status conference as the first thing on the hearing by affidavit docket in June? And then, I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, I don't know what Miss Bennett has up her sleeve, although there may be a few things.
I have a few
she's
things
got
I'm
cooking.
thinking of.
Got that smile on her face. But if the parties want to wait to the second docket, I'm okay with that too.
I think that if you would permit a status conference at the first June docket.
I would.
Okay, then I think that's perfectly
We're
fine.
already delaying this and yes, okay. So we will assign this to the first June docket. We will set it as a status conference instead of I guess we should call this a contested hearing, right, Freya?
I think so.
Yeah, this is really it's a continuation of the contested hearing. So we'll all know that it's not a full-blown contested hearing because we've already had that. We'll have the benefit of the amended exhibits. We'll have the amended application, the new notice. Of course, you'll have to, enter into evidence that notice information, your affidavit and the documents for that. Okay, what else did you want to deal with, Ms. Bennett? Okay. Okay. Would you also send it to Mr. McClure as well? Copy Mr. McClure? And then if there's any objection, Ms. McLean, please respond and include me if there's an objection to amending any exhibit that Ms. Bennett points out to you. We'll
If,
deal with that as a,
I think Permian Resources position would be if Mr. McClure would like us to amend them, we're happy to do so.
all right. So what if we do this, Ms. Bennett, why don't you send the list of suggested amendments to Mr. McClure and copy Ms. McLean. Ms. McLean, if you object, let me know. If you don't object, we'll let Mr. McClure decide which of those exhibits he would like to see amended because of those figures that may not be correct.
Mr. Hearing Examiner, I think Ms. Bennett's mic is off, so I didn't exactly hear the entirety of the exchange. But I think I understand based off what you just described. And Ms. Bennett sending me an email and CCing Ms. McLean with the referenced rebuttal exhibits. Is that correct?
Miss Bennett, why don't you reiterate why you feel certain other Permian exhibits need to be amended so Mr. McLean understands the rationale?
Yes, thank you. So there are a lot of Permian exhibits that were based, the premise of the exhibit was based off of the AFE costs that are now no longer reflected in rebuttal exhibit C5. And so my goal would be to identify the Permian exhibits that were based off of the now no longer accurate AFEs. And if a revision of those exhibits would be helpful to Mr. McClure, then he could decide. And so I would list the exhibits that identify the incorrect AFE amounts or that are based off the incorrect AFE amounts. And then that way Mr. McClure can review it. And if it's something he'd like to see, then Ms. McLean could have it reviewed.
Whatever Mr. McClure wants.
Mr. McClure, you heard that now?
Yes, I did, Mr. Hearing Examiner. And I guess I'll withhold judgment until I see this list is kind of where we're at, correct, Mr. Hearing Examiner?
It sounds like Ms. Bennett has identified exhibits and cross-examined the witness, Mr. Higginson, about his assumptions when he created those exhibits. And I think Mr. Higginson said that he used the original, well, he didn't even have the revised AFEs, so he couldn't have known what they were. They weren't submitted till Monday. So that is what you're suggesting, is it not?
It is, yes.
And we have admitted those into evidence at rebuttal C5. So it'd be fair to have that changed by Mr. Higginson. So anything else?
Just in terms of submitting the revised exhibit packet, I agree with Ms. McLean that we'll do that as quickly as possible. But Ms. McLean and I and Ms. Pena and Ms. Hardy do have some impending deadlines. So I would like some latitude on what as soon as possible means.
You have until the June.
Okay,
You have until
Okay,
June.
great.
I mean, you have 6 weeks to
Okay,
do this, I think.
okay, thank you.
My thinking was like, we'll get it in before, but at the very latest, the day exhibits are due
Yes.
for the June docket.
Perfect.
Perfect,
That's excellent.
perfect, thank you.
And on the regular docket, is that a week in advance or is that 4
They're
days?
Thursday, the week in advance.
It's a week in advance. but
So it'll be
the
May
regular-
28th. You're the day before your
Yeah,
birthday.
you and yours. Yeah, exactly. Okay, anything else, Ms. McLean?
Nothing from Permian Resources. We thank you for all of the time and attention you've spent on this the last 2 days. And Mr. McClure and the court reporter.
Thank you. Mr. McLean, anything else? Mr. McClure, anything else?
Nothing from me, Mr. Hearing Examiner.
Thank you. Bennett?
Thank you. I also would like to extend my gratitude to the division, especially with this that's happening today. I really appreciate your
Sure.
patience with me. And so thank you very much for the time you spent.
Thank you. It was a well handled hearing. Thank you. And thank you for the witnesses for traveling to Santa Fe.
Our record and resource I'm just,
I'm gonna recess it. Thank you. Thank you for saying. I appreciate that. I missed that.
no, that's fine. It was like with that witness thing.
Yes,
People don't realize